Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. It's great to have you in here on a Friday. As always, I'm alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How are you doing today on this Friday?
Oh, Red Sox.
They're not doing so well lately. Got
They
whooped
lost.
by the Orioles.
They haven't won a game at home yet. They lost all three.
Now
Terrible.
they play the Angels at home. They're favored, so at least hopefully you get some wins there.
Yeah, I hope so.
So we got a good show. We got a lot to talk about. Some Tom Brady news, which I did not expect on April 12th, especially because he's retired. Or is he? We'll get into that a little bit later. But let's jump right into our first topic of today's show. So Adam Schefter on NFL Live talked about the potential chance that the Cowboys are a sleeper pick in order to draft a quarterback, and this is his full quote on NFL Live. What are they going to do at quarterback if they lose Dak? That's interesting, and that's why I think the Cowboys might be a sleeper team in the quarterback market during the draft, because at some point in time, they might have to draft a quarterback higher than you think because Dak is going to be in the last year of his contract. We talked about this before. How much is he worth? Should they extend him? They also have CeeDee Lamb on the last year of his deal. They're going to need to pay Micah Parsons very soon. They have a lot of big-time contracts that are coming up, and they will need to be paid. Dak Prescott, we heard before the season, Ian Rappaport reported that they're not, doing a deal at least soon. However, we did hear other reports that they were planning on extending Dak. If they don't, should they look to the future in this particular draft at the quarterback position?
Well, maybe they'll draft a quarterback. They have 2 7th-round picks. Maybe they'll waste one on a quarterback in a very late round. Maybe their last pick. I don't think they're going to do that. They need a lot at other positions. I mean, they have no agreement with Dak right now on an extension. They've got, though, until next year and March 12th, 2025 to work out an extension. So it's not like it's urgent right now. Otherwise, he counts $40 million against the salary cap, and even without an extension, if they lose him, he counts $25 million against the cap. So they got some cap issues with him. What they need to do is sign him to an extension and restructure his salary so they can get some cap space. And I would have thought they would have done, if they really love Dak, they probably would have done that by now. And I think they're letting them think about it a little bit. But this is Jerry Jones. He does it this way. He isn't getting CeeDee Lamb signed, Micah Parsons. He waits till the last minute. They wind up overpaying. They could have had CeeDee Lamb last year on an extension, much cheaper. Look at the season he had. Amazing. Really an amazing season. We talked about this on the last show. So my feeling is the Cowboys are built to win now, right? They have Parsons, Diggs, Lamb, Bland. It's hard to see them thinking they're in a rebuild mode right now. So my money says that they extend Dak at some point before March 12th, 2025. I'll have more to say about it, but I want to hear your comments.
I'm not going to say I told you so ever because we need to see where this goes, but how bad is Trey Lance then? How bad is Trey Lance that they're not even thinking about looking at him? And Adam Schefter saying that they could be a sleeper pick to draft a quarterback and higher than you think. Does that mean that they'll go get Spencer Rattler somewhere in the middle third or fourth round pick? Are they going to try to do something there? Or are they just going to, like you said, bank on a very, very late round quarterback just to say that we drafted a quarterback and it could be Dak's replacement? Still, on the depth chart, Cooper Rush is still the backup quarterback. I don't think Dak is fearing for Cooper Rush, even though when Cooper Rush was out there, he performed very, very well. And then Trey Lance is still QB3. And what was funny is that Trey Lance said when he got traded, he wanted to go to a place where he had an opportunity to play. He's still QB3. Even when they were blowing out teams, it was Cooper Rush who came in to play, not Trey Lance. So I think the question is, how bad is Trey Lance? Because you gave up, a fifth round pick for him? Yeah. How bad could he possibly be? Clearly, he has to be pretty bad enough that you're not even giving him a look.
Yeah.
So my guess would be, you're not going to get the same production out of any rookie quarterback or any quarterback that's on the market right now, unless there's one out there that we're going to talk about soon that could be making an appearance there, although it wasn't talked about. It could be a potential opportunity, but that wouldn't be for this season, unless Dak gets hurt, of course. So for me, I'm saying, yeah, I agree with you. This team has been built to win for the past 5 seasons. When they had Zeke at the prime of his career. Then you go out and you get CeeDee Lamb and you bring in Brandon Cooks last year. Jake Ferguson, very good tight end after you lose Dalton Schultz. Very, very productive. Your offensive line has been great to absolutely tremendous for a number of years now. You also have a running back issue that you need to get sorted out this season. It's probably your biggest hole on offense besides maybe offensive tackle or center. Your defense has been incredible. You had a guy who just broke an NFL record for the most amount of pick sixes in a season. I think the Cowboys should be looking at a quarterback. I'm not saying use your first-round pick to get a quarterback. I think that would be stupid because you have right now a very, very expensive quarterback that you're talking about paying nearly $59 to $60 million a year, according to the report, although that's not his value according to SpotTrack. With SpotTrack, you're looking at a $30 million wide receiver, a $25 million edge rusher in Micah Parsons, and potentially, according to SpotTrack, a $51 million quarterback. And that's for 3 players. What about the rest of your team? And that's the challenge of it. You got to cut bait. For instance, the Chargers just did that. The Bills did that this offseason because you had cap casualties. This time, it's just, you should just start over at this point. Trade Dak if you want. At least get some value of him just getting rid of him.
Yeah, well, I think that, one thing Dak has to worry about, there could be lots of quality quarterbacks in the league next year. There already are quite a few quality quarterbacks, but with this draft class, if some of these 3 or 4 of these quarterbacks really perform and they're considered franchise quarterbacks, there may not be that many places for Dak to go next year. The money might not be there for him. I mean, Cousins got 4 years, $180 million. He's playing on one wheel. And he's 35 years old.
And
so
if Dak's looking to get signed, look towards that type of money, $45 million a year.
Yeah,
Don't be.
But
looking
he may
at
have
60.
to go. He may have to go to a team that is not built to win, like the Cowboys, to get that kind of money. That's a possibility. And I think maybe Adam Schefter doesn't think Trey Lance is any good. And maybe most of the league doesn't think so. But Jerry Jones might think so. He may think Trey Lance needs a chance. He got him cheap. He may be. Who knows? He may still have something. He was drafted right up there.
Pick number 3.
Pick number 3, and the 49ers gave up a ton to get him.
3 first-round picks, and I think a second-round pick as well.
Wow. So, and he had some bad luck, and he didn't get that much time. He didn't get that much time to show what he could do. So I don't think the Cowboys have given up on him. Maybe the rest of the league has. They have a lot of other needs this year, right? You mentioned some of the running back, outside linebacker. Offensive lineman, right? They lost some of their offensive.
Tyron Smith was the biggest one, probably.
Lost him. And but, if they want to pick a quarterback with the late round, they got 2 7ths. They got the 24th pick in the first round, the 56th pick in the second round, 87 in the third round, 174 in the fifth round, 216 in the sixth round, 233 in the seventh round, and 244. If you want to go with a quarterback, use one of those 2 7th-round picks. Maybe Jordan Travis will be there.
Oh, he's going to be a late-round pick, yeah.
Florida State quarterback who had a terrible leg injury.
Yeah.
And, he's not going to play. Dak Prescott's going to be there this year, so Jordan Travis could take all the time he needs to heal, watch for a year. Who knows? He might be a sleeper that would be worth a 7th-round pick. Joe Milton of Tennessee.
He has a hell of an arm.
He's got a rocket arm.
Yeah.
But he's a little inconsistent. But, maybe with age and a little experience and watching the NFL from the sidelines for a year, maybe he could gain some consistency. Austin Reed, Western Kentucky. He doesn't have the kind of rocket arm that you need, but he's good at the off-schedule plays, and he has some accuracy issues too. So there's some quarterbacks that are interesting that could be there in the late round. Maybe you splurge a late round pick and take one of them.
Austin Reed, Western Kentucky, Bailey Zappi's alma mater.
Yeah. See?
It's 6,000-yard season that Zappy had. Yeah, I don't see Austin Reed having that.
It might not be much competition in that league.
The Cowboys, though, no matter what happens this season, do we expect anything besides they win 12 games, make the playoffs, and lose in embarrassing fashion like they have for the past several years? I mean, let's be honest here. What are we expecting Dak and the Cowboys to do?
I gave them the over on the wins. They were at 10.5, right?
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, so I gave them. I think they'll get to 11 wins. Maybe they won't get 12 this year. I don't know. They lost some good players. We'll see what they can do in the draft, and maybe they aren't done with doing a few trades. We'll have to wait and see. That could be the case. And Mike McCarthy is a pretty good in-season coach. He's proven that 3 12-win seasons in a row. Yeah. Dak Prescott, a very good in-season quarterback, had his best year last year. So I think they'll win at least 11 games. For me, though, and I talked about this before, if he's looking for $60 million, he's got to have a perfect season to win the Super Bowl. Otherwise, you ain't getting $60 million. Unless it's Jerry Jones, which I guess unfortunately it is for him because he's going to overpay for Dak just to keep him. If they win the Super Bowl, okay, Jerry Jones is going to pay him. I guarantee
exactly,
it. But he'll be so happy. He's waited 30 years now for a Super Bowl. Yeah, he'll be so happy, and he's not getting any younger. Right. He will pay Dak at that point. But let's say, and I brought up this example before, let's say they go to the NFC Championship game, which seems nearly impossible at this point just because of history always repeats itself when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Let's say they go to the NFC Championship game. They're up against the 49ers. Dak Prescott, with 1:30 left, he scores a touchdown. And then Brock Purdy leads a game-winning drive and ends the game on, let's say, a game-winning field goal. You made it to the NFC Championship game, and you put your team in a position to win, and your defense couldn't hold. I would give you $45 to maybe $50 million, depending on how the rest of the season went. If Dak has a near 5,000-yard season and plays at MVP caliber, give him $50 million a year. If he plays just normal Dak Prescott, and somehow they get to the NFC Championship game, and he plays well, scores that touchdown, or puts his team up with a field goal, and then Brock Purdy does some magic, then you could say, okay, our defense couldn't hold, but Dak put us in a position to win. Then you'd pay him and say, okay, we'll give you a 5-year extension for $45 million a year. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think if he gets deep into the playoffs, the Cowboys would re-sign him. They may do an extension before then. Who knows? It's hard to say with Jerry Jones. But there's no big rush at this point. And there is a risk that Dak winds up for a free agent, and there aren't that many. And other teams feel like they're in pretty good shape quarterback-wise, and he winds up playing for a rebuilding team, making a little more money. But, yeah, he's in a good spot right now. I think he's with a team that wins big in the regular season, has had terrible luck, and not played well in the playoffs. They need to find a way to get deeper into the playoffs. They got to do something. What can they do? What can they do to shake that up? Does it need change a quarterback? Change the head coach. Dak Prescott in the playoffs chokes time and time again. Interceptions that digs his team such a deep hole. Yeah. But this time, it was just a culmination of everything in that first half. Defense couldn't stop Jordan Love, and Dak Prescott threw 2 horrible interceptions and put his team even farther in the hole when they couldn't even stop the youngest team in the NFL. They need a ground and pound running game. They really need. That's when Dak excels. They could have, if they could get tougher on offense by using the ground and pound, then they wouldn't have to rely as heavily on Dak. I think that's one of the secrets. In that case, to them winning a playoff game. Do you need a $55 million quarterback? They have him this year. They have him this year. We're talking about this year. Right. What can they do to get deeper into the playoffs? I say have a much better running game. And unfortunately, you're going to need to bank on probably a rookie in order for him to create that ground and pound. Number 24. There should be a pretty good running back at number 24. I don't know if a running back is like Bijan Robinson type or any one of those top running. I mean, like probably. Who's the best running back in the draft this year? I think it's Blake Corum. Personally, for me, I think it's Blake Corum. But I mean, I say Blake Corum's a second-round pick, and my guess would be, and we're hearing it from we're actually hearing it from even former Michigan players. I think Roman Wilson talked about it. The Chargers may go full Michigan, or just a bunch of Michigan players. Oh yeah, because I mean that's the benefit of having a college coach is that they were scouting these players throughout high school and into college. You train with them, you coach them, so you know their skills and weaknesses immediately. How they're on the practice field, how they are with teammates. So that's why Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers could be an interesting team where they're going to get a bunch of Michigan players, maybe for the next 2-3 seasons, and we could be seeing some serious team chemistry because half the team's from Michigan. So what pick do the Chargers? Oh, they have the number 5 pick. Number 5 pick. Yeah, we didn't have them picking Blake Corum then. I didn't have him
because he's not the 5th overall pick.
I had Duche, the wide receiver.
Oh, on Dunze, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you traded the Chargers out, I thought. Or
No.
no, I did. I traded the Chargers back.
Yeah.
Correct. I said the Vikings move up and get
Yeah. So I had him not picking a Michigan player. So maybe it's Blake Corum they take with number 5.
Blake Corum.
That's too high.
Yeah. No, we're talking about second, third round.
Yeah.
Unless someone like the Giants say, okay, we have Devin Singletary, let's go get another Saquon rookie running back that's promising. They could do that. Also, I think Brooks, he's also a pretty good college running back. Let's get into this is... Tom Brady's back in the news, but this time it's not for his broadcasting career with Fox. This time, he went on the DeepCut Podcast and said that he would not be opposed to making a Jordan-like comeback to the NFL. This is what he had to say on DeepCut.
Let's say one day there's a situation, right? Maybe it's the 49ers, maybe, heading to the playoffs. Offense is great.
Patriots,
somebody,
Raiders,
look,
could be, you never know.
God forbid somebody goes down. Would you pick up that phone?
I'm not opposed to it. If they would, I don't know if they're going to let me if I become an owner in the NFL team, but I don't know if, I don't know. I'm always going to be in good shape, always be able to throw the ball. So to come in for a little bit, like MJ coming back, I don't know if they let me, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Do you think Tom Brady should unretire for the second time?
He mentioned the Patriots. Yeah. Love to have him back. Come back, Tom, to the Patriots. Love to have you. That would be something, man. I'd be at that game. I'd pay primo dollars to be in the stands when Brady ran out onto the field in a Patriots uniform wearing number 12. Huh? That would be history. And that would be every Patriots dream, every Patriots fan's dream, for Tom Brady to run out on the field and play again. Huh?
Yeah.
Even at 47 years old.
Yeah.
Given what the Patriots got for quarterback right now, he'd be a major upgrade, that's for sure.
Over Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah. Look at this. Look what he had. I mean, he's been retired 1 year, right? This last year with the Bucs, 4,700 yards, 5 game-winning drives, 67% completion percentage, and 0 running game. They were last in the NFL in running. Most attempts, most completions, and NFL records. That's in his last year. He was 45 years old. So, hey, I'd take him. I got more to say about it, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Believe me. I mean, I would love it for the NFL. Having Tom Brady back would be a blessing. But let's be honest here. We saw him in the last year. Correct. He put up great numbers with literally 0 running game. But what I saw visually was that if there was a half second of pressure, he's getting the ball out. Whether it's incomplete, a bad throw, over the head of someone, or into the arms of the defender, which he did 9 times, it was not pretty. That Cowboys game and against the Rams, against that pass rush, not even in his last season. But we talk about the playoff game a couple years ago against the Rams. He was getting battered and bruised that entire game. Aaron Donald was all over him. Von Miller all over him. He had no time to throw. And in that very last season, honestly, it was a little bit embarrassing to watch. Just because it would literally take him half a second, and then he would get rid of the ball because he's afraid of getting hit, which is reasonable when you're 45 years old. Now in an era where maybe he's going to do this because Aaron Donald's gone, J.J. Watt's gone, you still got Myles Garrett out there, Max Crosby, and number one of these players. Although if you join the Raiders, you don't got to deal with Max Crosby tackling you. But it's also kind of interesting what he said about the New England Patriots. Because what we heard in the dynasty was, at least in 2019, he could play till 50. He was never going to re-sign with the New England Patriots. But here's the kicker. Let's be honest. There was one major person that is why Brady was no longer with the New England Patriots.
Who would that be?
Well, that person's gone. Bill Belichick is gone.
Yeah.
And it seems like, by the way, there's a lot going on inside of Gillette Stadium. The do your job signs are getting taken down, putting up posters of the historical moments within the Patriots organization. Everything is moving within that building.
I'm sure that all those Super Bowl trophies are still in the trophy case.
But what I'm saying is the fact that he said Patriots about a month and a half after the documentary concluded, and that quote came out before the documentary even came out, episode 1 came out, was that even he could play till 50. He's not going to re-sign with the Patriots. Him saying this now, and then the Raiders, of course, He's going to be a part. He was at least trying to. I think the deal
He
still hasn't gone through.
He hasn't got a deal yet.
Right.
On that.
It was weird. They still need to agree on it and whatever. It's a complete mess at the moment, but I guess that's why he said the Raiders is because he's trying to be a part-time owner with the Raiders. I think him and Mark Davis are also very, very close. So I think it's interesting. I think it's good for the NFL. I also think there's a little bit of jealousy. Because what have we heard for the past 2 seasons? Mahomes is better than Brady. Let's take this trip down before we really get into it. Let's say the 49ers, Brock Purdy gets injured. And so they call up Tom Brady, just like if they made it to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, they would have called up Phillip Rivers to be their starting quarterback. Let's say they call up Tom Brady. He comes in week 9, let's say. Leads them to the playoffs, which with that team, they probably will make it. And let's just say, hypothetically, he wins the Super Bowl. Number 8 at age 47. I think at that point, Mahomes could do whatever he wants. He's not winning a Super Bowl at age 47.
I think he's already got that. My own feeling is there's all this hype about that. It's hype in my mind. I think Brady is still always the GOAT.
I do as well.
Yeah,
but I think
Mahomes got a long way to go to get to 7.
He does.
Or to get to 8, actually.
And that's the thing. Brady even said that recently. He thinks it's about Super Bowl wins. And that's what we heard throughout his career. Oh, Montana's 4-0. Even when he won his 5th, Montana's 4-0, though. Oh, but then he got his 6th. Okay, so now he has the most out of any player in the NFL. And then he won his 7th. Oh, when you talk about how many Super Bowls, every single entity in the NFL has, you start with Brady with 7. Then you go to franchises. That's how much Brady has separated himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is great for the NFL. And I think the fact that he's always said he's 100% retired and now he's entertaining this idea, I think it's interesting. I really do. What else are you going to say about it?
Well, he's a fitness freak. Right?
That's true.
He's into longevity. He's into pliability.
That TB12
right?
method.
I've got the TB12 method up in my bookcase there. It hasn't worked so well for me, but, I haven't really got...
You don't eat avocado ice cream and drink chia seeds every day.
I got to start doing that here soon. He would have been the top free agent last year, don't you think? It was who else was out there? Wilson and Cousins. He was head and shoulders over both of them, I think.
Especially the fact that Kirk Cousins coming off an injury.
Let's say the Vikings are 3 or 4-1 after 5 games.
Okay.
And they've got 7 elite players out there. And something happens to Sam Darnold, who I don't think will be 5-1 after 6 games.
Fair.
With the Vikings. Do you think Brady would get a call? I do.
100%.
Yeah.
1,000.
Let's say that Jared Goff goes down in week 11 and can't play the rest of the season. Do you think the Lions would call Tom Brady? I do. I think they would. 50 quarterbacks played last year. 50. Right? There's 32 teams. There's 32 teams. So injuries happen. There's going to be an opportunity. He has opened the door. The call will come. The call will come, Nate.
I'll also say this. Even after Brock Purdy, when healthy, had an undefeated season, the 49ers still wanted Brady. Brock Purdy, even though he got hurt in the Eagles game, if you take away that game, was undefeated. And he was being compared already at that time to Kurt Warner and Tom Brady. Kyle Shanahan still wanted Brady in that building to be the starting quarterback. He even told Brock Purdy he'd be the backup to Brady. Which, I think if anyone says, by the way, Brady's going to be in our building and you can learn from him, I would take that as well.
I wouldn't take that as a criticism.
I wouldn't as well.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me, and by the way, the reason why I don't think the 49ers would be a perfect fit is because the offensive line last year was not good, at least in pass blocking wise. The Raiders haven't had a good offensive line in years, if not a whole decade. Basically, Derek Carr's entire career was behind a bad offensive line. Vikings, that makes sense. They have a pretty good offensive line. I would say the Lions, they had a top-tier offensive line the past couple seasons. Penei Sewell is a phenomenal offensive lineman. Was it Ragnow? Also phenomenal offensive lineman. They have a great O-line. So those two teams make sense a little bit. And not only that, you add on top of the fact that you have wide recievers on the lines like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond's not bad. Sam Laporta, you have a very good tight end. You have, if you go to the Vikings, I think they even have they have even more. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. You have Aaron Jones, T.J. Hawkinson, Christian Darrisaw, the offensive lineman.
Yeah.
There's pieces there to be had that Tom Brady could be very intrigued in.
Yeah.
And that's why he kind of went to Tampa. You had Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. And you knew they were going to draft an offensive lineman anyway. You bring in Antonio Brown just to add to the plethora of talent as well. You bring in Gronk back from retirement. You get Leonard Fournette to bolster the running game. Like, that's the power Brady has.
He's opened the door. He's opened the door. He's going to get a call.
And let's be honest.
He's going to get a call.
He shut the door.
He can be picky. He can see who it is. I mean, he mentioned the Patriots. Man, it makes the hair on the back of my neck, what little hair I got, stand on end. Yeah, it does. I'm excited about this. I'm hoping that he would pick the Patriots. That would be something, man. We could go to that game and see Tom Brady come back out on the field, number 12 in the Patriots uniform. Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's big.
Well, then the question is, what would you do about the fact that the Patriots are inducting him into the Hall of Fame? Could you play even though you're already in the Patriots Hall of Fame?
Sure, why not? You could get in there twice. Put you up there twice.
He's not winning a Super Bowl with the New England Patriots.
Well,
they got nobody.
Yeah. Well, they would have somebody if they had him. If they had him, that would change the whole culture there.
You draft Marvin Harrison, bring Brady back.
Yeah.
That ain't bad.
Yeah.
That ain't bad.
That could be very cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Tom Brady, of course, and that's the interesting thing. He shut down any word of coming back up until that point. It was always like, I'm retired. I'm enjoying retirement. I got the thing with Fox now. And now all of a sudden he's like, well, if a team calls.
What do you think Fox thinks when he says something like that? I mean, he's in the booth for 6 weeks and then, see you later, guys. I'm going off to play in the NFL.
Well, Matt Ryan did that. And that's the thing about Tom Brady. You're right. He is a fitness freak. Peyton Manning looked broken. He looked absolutely 9 touchdowns, 17
Drew
picks.
Brees can't lift his right arm over his shoulder. Drew Brees can't throw the football
with his right arm anymore.
He throws left-handed to his kids now.
Matt Ryan, we saw him in his last year with the Colts. That was ugly. That was sad. Yeah. That Thursday night game, Broncos-Colts, that was the worst football game I've ever seen in my second worst football game I've ever seen. The first one would be the Jets-Jaguars Thursday night game, where they were cheering Chris Streveler for first downs because they couldn't get any first downs. Yeah. That was the worst game I've ever seen.
I don't know. The last game, the Patriots game season last year was pretty bad. The game in the snow.
Trevor Siemian.
That was awful. Trevor Siemian beat the Patriots. Bailey Zappi could not do anything. Nothing. Couldn't get
to 8 straight years. It was 7.5. That's when the streak ended.
Oh well.
It was at 15 games. Trevor Siemian broke that streak, and Bill Belichick was petty enough to tell Mac Jones a little hour before the game, "Your emergency quarterback 3." Nathan Rourke, who was there for maybe a half second, is the backup quarterback. Yeah. Tom Brady could be coming back, and what's weird about that is he'll be coached underneath his former linebacker.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
I'd love to see it. I would love to see that.
I
think we'll probably be going to his Hall of Fame induction anyway, right?
Yeah, you got to put in your information, and you earn a chance to win.
You can't just buy a ticket to go?
They sent it out today. I don't know if you can right now, but they sent out something today about...
you can win a ticket?
Sweepstakes. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll do that, but I'll buy a ticket too. I want to go.
If that's available, I don't know if it is right now. Yeah. I just got the email about a sweepstakes.
I'm going to take my Volkswagen bus and sleep in the parking lot.
like a true tailgater.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break, but coming up, the Knicks embarrassed the Celtics last night in a 118-109. That game was not as close as the score says. They were up as much as 31 points at one point. We'll talk about that, as well as Tom Brady said that Josh Allen will be the next quarterback to win his first Super Bowl. We'll talk about whether or not we agree with Brady's take coming up right after this.
Whether you're just discovering your voice or taking your show to the next level, you know what the world needs to hear. All you have to do is say it. With Spotify, set up your podcast. Your food podcast. Your mindfulness podcast. Your never thought you'd get this far podcast. And watch those sparks fly.
I put a picture of the content.
Drop the episode anywhere people listen. And find out who they're cooking with. Where they're finding inner balance. And why they love your show. You're already a creator. Now you can create, connect, and get paid for your passion with one single free tool. Spotify for podcasters. Talk where the world listens.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey. It is great to have you in on a Friday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our next topic. So, the Knicks absolutely embarrassed the Celtics last night in a 118-109 victory over them. This game was not as close as it was because the Knicks were up by as much as 31 points at one point in the game. Meanwhile, the Celtics' highest lead was 2. Not a good game at all. The Knicks are still in pursuit of the number 2 seed, still one game back from the Milwaukee Bucks, who do have the tiebreaker over them. So the Bucks would need to lose their last 2 games, and the Knicks would need to complete their perfect ending to the season in order to get that number 2 spot. But the Celtics have not looked great. 5-4 since March 24th, which is when they clinched the East. So it's not been a good end of the season for them. And I want to know, do you have any concern for the Celtics as the season comes to a close, I believe, this weekend?
I do. I think they're very lackluster out there now. They look like they don't care. I mean, turning that focus off and turning it right back on, it may not be possible to do. They could get in trouble in the first round. Who knows? We'll see. I watched a few games lately. They're just going through the motions, man. They lost back-to-back against Atlanta. The Knicks beat them last night. The Knicks really have a lot to play for here. And if the Knicks win out, they possibly couldn't get the second spot, right? They need help. They need the Bucks to lose. Yeah. So, but give the Knicks credit, man. They were on their game last night. Jalen Brunson, right? I think do you think he's the best guard, the best point guard in the league right now? He's got to be right up there. He's averaging like 37 points a game recently.
No, it's incredible what he's doing.
Yeah, and he's making the players around him better. He's really something. I think he what a great pickup for the Knicks. I guess one thing I would say about the Celtics that could be a problem for them is their toughness. Are they tough enough? Are they really? Can they be physical enough to really dominate in the playoffs? I mean, you look at Porzingis. You think he can hold up through all those 7-game series? I think they got to hope they win a couple of them in 4 or 5 games to make sure that he can make it through all the way through the playoffs, because he's kind of a beanpole. I mean, he's not like a heavyweight center. Embiid could give him a hard time, right?
That's true.
Jokic is much. I think he's much more physical than Porzingis. So I think the toughness factor comes into play. I think the shot selection, the Celtics have had some issues with that. The ball movement, haven't been much ball movement lately. They're just standing around out there. So they live and die by the 3 ball. That last year that deserted them in the last game against the Miami Heat when they were trying to get to the finals, and I think that could be an issue for them. I think for them, it's there's a lot of pressure now, too, more than ever, because it's championship or bust. When you win over 60 games in a season, they're looking for you to win it all, and they're under a lot of pressure from that. And there's a lot of pressure on Tatum, who doesn't play that well late in games and late in playoff games. He's not been that good. Last year, he turned the ball over 100 times. During the playoffs.
That was a couple years ago.
2 years ago.
The finals.
2 years ago, yeah. Finals year. So, do they have the best starting 5 in basketball? Probably. Who else could would you say, has a better starting 5 than they do? Maybe it's Denver. I mean, they
healthy.
Lost.
The Bucks on paper. The Bucks on paper should be at least, comparable to the Celtics.
Yeah.
But no, I would say right now, the Celtics should have the best starting 5.
Yeah. Are the Knicks a legit threat to the Celtics?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Even without Julius Randle.
They've been playing very well with Julius Randle.
I think the thing with them is, can they stay healthy? Can Jalen Brunson last year tried to carry him to the end.
Correct.
And I think they ran out of gas. They're kind of in a similar setup this year. They're going to have to lean heavily on him. And whether they run out of gas again, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I think they're deeper. I think they're deeper this year than they were last year.
Yeah.
I think they could get deep into the playoffs. Could they beat the Celtics in a 7-game series? And the Celtics will have the rust off by then if they get to the final. If they get to the conference finals, the rust will be off. they'll be.
How about just pure performance? Screw the rust.
Yeah.
We saw them against the Hawks. That series was too close. The Sixers brought them to 7 games.
Yeah, I know.
Too close. Then you go up against the Heat. You're down 3-0. Unnecessarily, just completely crushed.
Hopefully they learn something from that. I hope they learn
You would
something
hope.
from that.
Correct.
I think they're a deeper team now. They let more of the they have a deeper rotation, right? They let more people play. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I am worried about them.
For me, this game was a lot about the Knicks than it was about the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics, we've seen, and I'm going to bring up the numbers. This is what happens when you take your foot off the gas. These are the numbers since they clinched the East back on March 24th. They are middle to the pack to actually terrible in some statistical categories. Their record is 5-4. They're 14th in defense, 16th in offensive rebounding, 27th in defensive rebounding, 27th in defensive rebounding, 21st in total rebounding, and defensive three-point field goal percentage, they're 17th. They just don't care right now. They're sitting back, legs up on the table, just enjoying the end of the season run. Now, generally when that happens, it's not a good thing because you're relaxed. Where's the intensity? Ime Udoka would not stand for this. And that's why maybe Jaylen Brown didn't like him. Because he called for consistent defense every single drive. Every time you're on defense, give it your all. Finish the season strong. Momentum matters in the NBA. Momentum matters a lot. Look at the Miami Heat. They kept winning games and upsetting teams. They upset the Bucks and led that to only a 5-game series against the number 1 team in the East last season. And they took that momentum all the way up against the finals, played Jokic, who really, I think, has no matchup whatsoever that benefits the other player, and they lost in 5. This game was actually very, very fascinating because the Knicks played with some serious heart. Unironically, and maybe pun intended, Josh Hart had a great game. 16 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting nearly 50% from the floor. He went 7 of 15. Jalen Brunson, of course, 39 points, 6 of 11 from 3. The Celtics, on the other hand, Jaylen Brown didn't shoot very well. Jason Tatum didn't shoot very well. Kristaps Porzingis didn't shoot very well. Derek White barely played. He only took 5 shots in the entire game, went 0 for 3. The shocking part about last night's game was the rebounding. We're talking about the Knicks had 52 rebounds to the Celtics 36. How? When you have such a great team like the Celtics do, and not only that, the Knicks, what they benefit from greatly is second chance opportunities because they're the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the NBA. Second chance points, they had 22 to the Celtics 12. Points in the paint, Knicks 56, Celtics 40. You're dominating in the paint. You're giving your team second chance opportunities. So if, let's say, Dante DiVincenzo misses a 3, you can get the rebound right back. Hartenstein had a very, very good game. I think he is one of the underrated bigs in the NBA. Dante DiVincenzo, 3 of 7 from 3, but he shot the same percentage as Josh Hart did. And then here's what is crazy about this. And I think depending on how far the Knicks go in the playoffs, the best trade in maybe years will be the OG Anunoby trade. Because according to the numbers, would you believe that the expected wins that OG brings to the Knicks is 41? Half of a season. Just having OG makes you go at least 500. That's how much of an impact OG Anunoby has had.
They're like 18-3 with him.
17-3, yeah. But that's just how big of an impact OG brings. He takes away 17 points from the other team by being on the court. He's 100th percentile in amount of points scored versus taking away points. He has that much of an impact with the Knicks. And 17-3 when you're out there is crucial for a team that lost its maybe second best player in Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's back now. He's healthy.
Julius Randle's not back.
No, I'm talking about
OG. Yes,
OG Anunoby.
Right. And I think depending on how far the Knicks go, the best trade, the most impactful trade maybe will be OG to the Knicks. Because in January, they went 14-1. What's scary about the Knicks actually getting the 2 seed now, and if we look at the projected seeding, post play-in game, there'll be the Knicks let's say the Knicks hit the 2 seed, and we stick with the rest of the projected standings. That means you play the Philadelphia 76ers, who this season you're 3-1. Let's say you don't. Let's say the Bucks and you stay even, and you're the 2, and you're the 3 seed if you're the Knicks. You go up against the Orlando Magic, Now, originally, you might be like, okay, it's the Orlando Magic. They're the 6th seed, whatever the case may be. The Knicks only beat them one time this season. They lost the 3 other games by an average margin of 10 points. And it was embarrassing, too. People would not show up. The Magic just, for some reason, beat really good teams this season. They are a pretty good team. Paolo Banchero, phenomenal player. But the Knicks, how deep they are, and maybe with OG it changes things. Maybe. But this Knicks team is very, very impressive. The Celtics, I've already said my piece on them when it comes to that. Not a great clutch team. Can't rely on Jason Tatum that often, especially late in games. We saw it against the Cavaliers when they had that 20-point crumble where they just could not do anything. I forgot his name, but he went completely off late in the game. The big man, he kept shooting and making. So I think he scored 15 straight points for the Cavs. And the Celtics couldn't stop him, nor could they score points in that game. So now I think the Celtics are going to do it. They have the best record in the NBA. They have 60-plus wins. That's great for them. They clinched the East. But since clinching the East, they just haven't cared anymore. They've kicked their feet up on the table, started eating a sandwich, drinking a Coke, and just enjoying the high life for the time being.
Yeah, I think that's a problem. I think that could be a problem. I mean, they'll probably play Miami, right, in the first round.
According to the projected standings post-playing, yes.
Miami's right where they want to be, the last seed.
Yeah.
Right? That's what took them to the NBA championship last year. They knocked the number 1 seed Bucks off. In what, 5 games? I think it was 5 games.
Yeah.
Right? So that was very impressive. And, hey, they're probably thinking, we can do that again, right? They're going to have I think they'll come in with quite a bit of confidence. They're healthy, right? They have Jimmy Butler. Tyler Hero now. He didn't play last year, right? He's out there. Duncan Robinson. Who else? Oh, the Adebayo.
Yep.
They got Bam. So
Jaime
they're not going to
Jaquez, I believe he's a rookie.
I don't think they're going to be a pushover. I really don't. I thought last year, I didn't think they'd get past the first round.
We had them losing in the first play-in game.
Yeah, I had them losing in every series. I didn't think they would make it. Man, they made it to the finals. That was very impressive.
It is very
They have
impressive.
a great coach.
I mean, yeah, Eric Spoelstra, he signed a massive extension too. He's a culture builder. He has done tremendous things for that organization.
Pat Riley in the front office.
A tremendous front office piece that he'd have. I mean, they have such a great culture. And Jimmy Butler, we know what happens come playoff time. Mm-hmm. I mean, he plays pretty well in the regular season and then becomes a whole other entity in the postseason. Mm-hmm. The one that scored tremendous amounts of points against the Bucks in that first series. Took over the series against the New York Knicks. And then the undrafted rookies and undrafted players came up big against the Celtics and just took over with the help of Jimmy Butler.
Mm-hmm. How about Lillard? He's going to be in the playoffs this year.
Obviously.
Yeah. And I wonder what his mindset is right now.
Well, let's see. And it would be pretty funny if the Heat get the 7th seed or the Bucks drop, or just for hypothetical purposes, let's say the Heat go to the 7th seed. Bucks Heat first series.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
You play.
I kind of hope that happens. Actually, I don't like the Celtics playing the Heat in the first round.
It's a bad matchup for the Celtics. I don't care what people think of the Heat. It's a bad matchup because just history speaks for itself.
Then they might be playing Atlanta. That might even be worse.
That might be worse. Just look at the recent history. The recent games they played, back-to-back games, they choked.
Losses.
It's a bad. Right now, I'm very nervous for the Celtics just because the consistency isn't there. The fact that they're ending the season the way they are. What motivation are you bringing to the table?
I mean, still, it's quite a bit of time before they even start the playoffs, and these guys are like asleep at the switch already.
Right.
The playoffs don't start till the 20th of this month.
Yeah.
So they got a ways to go here. I think they need to try to win their last couple of games. Give an effort.
You would hope so. They were projected to go 4-0 in the last 4 games. They went 0-2 so far.
Yeah.
And with a bad loss against a Bucks team that was reeling, they've been terrible. We're talking about moving different pieces around, benching your starters, putting them back in at weird times. The Bucks look horrible. Doc
Rivers.
Yeah, Doc Rivers is not doing a great job. I think he's still sub 500 as the Bucks coach this season. And somehow you got absolutely obliterated by them. And then the Knicks put up the Knicks go up as high as 31 points against you, and you literally have no answer. This score should not have been 118-109 because the Knicks just took care of you entirely. Jalen Brunson sat the fourth quarter, and he scored 39 points. And we're talking about a guy that's like 39 point, 40 point, 40 point, 61 point at one point. Like, I think the Knicks are going to be very dangerous. I think they can make a deep playoff run if everything works. I mean, like I said, OG. Expected wins for the Knicks since joining them, 41. Just having him on your team, you go 500 at least. That's how big of an impact he has for you.
It's interesting.
17-3 when he joined the Knicks.
We'll see what happens.
It's going to be, here come playoff time, it's going to be fun. We're going to make our play-in predictions that are coming up, I think, very, very soon.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Let's get into our final topic of today's show. So Tom Brady on the DeepCut Podcast, as we talked about earlier on in the show, he was asked what quarterback he thinks will be the next quarterback to win his first Super Bowl. And Brady said, quote, I like Josh a lot. I'd pick Josh, meaning Josh Allen. I like Josh a lot as a guy, as a leader, but he's got to get past the Chiefs. And that's hard because Patrick Mahomes is incredible in the way he leads that team. I want to know, do you agree or disagree with Brady thinking that Josh Allen will be the next quarterback to win his first Super Bowl?
I think it's going to be tough this year because the Chiefs are going to be on a mission to get that three-peat and be considered a dynasty. So I think it's going to be hard this year. I think Mahomes, he's one of the 4 quarterbacks that have a ring, right? 4 or 5 quarterbacks that have a ring. He's got one. Flacco's got one. Rodgers has one. Stafford's got one. Wilson's got one.
Do you want to go into technicality? Jimmy G's got one.
Jimmy G's got 2. Jimmy G's got 2. So all the others don't. Do you think there are other quarterbacks out there that perhaps could beat out Josh Allen that are not named Mahomes to win a Super Bowl?
Well, it's not only win a Super Bowl, it's win your first Super Bowl.
Win your first Super Bowl. Well, right. I named the ones that have won one. So I don't think Flacco's going to get one this year. Playing with the Colts.
He already won one. That's what I mean.
I know, but I'm saying another one.
Okay,
this year.
No.
I don't think Flacco's going to get one.
Probably not.
I don't think that Rodgers is going to get one. He's playing with the Jets. There's just going to be something that happens.
Just because of the Jets. Not Rodgers, just the Jets. Fair.
Just because he's on the Jets.
Okay.
Stafford with the Rams, they could do okay this year.
Nakua, Cup, Kyron Williams.
They've got some nice players.
Their defense, though, is going to be
I don't think Russell Wilson's going to win one with
Definitely
the Steelers.
Not.
He might not even be the starting quarterback, okay? So that leaves – so we don't think anybody who's got one except Mahomes
will
win another one this year, okay? Right. So that leaves a whole bunch of quarterbacks that don't have one, right? That will be in the league with Josh Allen to try to get their first Super Bowl ring. Dak Prescott.
No.
Jalen Hurts.
No.
No?
Not this year.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They may be rebuilding.
If we're talking about this year, no.
Yeah. Jared Goff.
No. Here's the thing. I really like the Lions. I like the story of it. They're great for the NFL. Their story last year, looking at that journey, was great. Jared Goff is not winning a Super Bowl this year.
Jordan Love.
Nope. Too young of a team.
CJ Stroud.
I think he'll be a serious Super Bowl competitor.
In his second year, though? I don't know.
Look at the team.
Yeah.
Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Noah Brown, Robert Woods.
They gave away their
Dalton
picks.
Schultz.
They gave away a lot of their first round. They gave around their first
round.
round.
You're in a win now mode. You're in a win now mode. I don't know if he'll win. He'll compete. So I'm saying Stroud.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence.
No.
Tua.
No.
Derek Carr.
No.
Baker Mayfield.
No.
Kirk Cousins.
No.
Watson. Deshaun Watson.
No.
Those are the only ones I think. There's a bunch of others, but I don't think there's anybody else.
You think those at least could be in a conversation?
Well, those are in a conversation for sure, right?
You're missing one massive one.
Dak Prescott.
You're missing one massive one. Joe Burrow.
Oh, gee, I forgot him. He hasn't won one.
He would be my number 2.
I should have had him.
He made it to Super Bowl, but and that's where I'm going to disagree with Tom Brady. I agree with him with a lot. How can you disagree with a guy who's won 7 Super Bowls? But I will disagree with Brady when it comes to saying Josh Allen will be the next quarterback to win one. Because their team, I don't know if people believe it's addition by subtraction, but they lost a lot of key pieces in the offseason so far. They lost a lot. Their first 2 wide receivers, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, then Mitch Morse, their center, Leonard Floyd and Tyrell Dodson, linebackers, Tre'Davious White, cornerback, and Jordan Poyer, safety. They lost a bunch of key pieces on their team. If you're telling me that Josh Allen's going to go out here and ball with a lackluster wide receiver core, now maybe they get A.D. Mitchell, a wide receiver early in the first, or late in the first round with their first pick in the first round. They go out and get a McConkey. You can get whoever you want in the first round if you're a wide receiver. Xavier Worthy if you're interested. But I don't think it'll matter that much because I don't think any one of these wide receivers, besides if you're one of those top 3 receivers in the draft, are going to go out there and be a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson type of impact. They could be shifty. They could be, a nice piece to have eventually. But to have that year one impact, I do not think will happen. And where my answer would be, I think it'll be Joe Burrow. Because who's taking over the NFL?
I can't believe I forgot
It's
him
Mahomes.
on my list.
Right.
Mahomes
Mahomes is taking over the NFL. Who is the one team and one quarterback to give Mahomes fits? It's Joe Burrow. Josh Allen in the playoffs can't do anything against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Well,
Chiefs.
They only
Can't do
lost,
anything.
what was it, 17-10 in the playoff
Doesn't
game
matter.
last winter.
You couldn't kick a field goal. 13 seconds. Your coach screws up there.
Yes. So it's 17-14, right?
You couldn't, it doesn't matter. Just the circumstance around it. I think, didn't the Bills lose 4 straight Super Bowls? Something like that?
Yeah.
The Bills just are not lucky when it comes to playoff time, and that's why I said their Super Bowl
that was
window is
back in
shut.
1993. I mean,
Have they been back since?
No.
Now, I understand quarterback-wise hasn't been great since then, but Josh Allen's probably the best quarterback you've had since that point.
Oh, yeah.
And you have very, very difficult time.
Jim Kelly was good.
I'm not saying he's bad.
But that's the quarterback they had when they went to 4 Super Bowls.
Right. But since Jim Kelly left and they made it to those 4 Super Bowls, I think Josh Allen might be their best quarterback that they've had.
For sure. I agree with that.
I think Joe Burrow is the only quarterback who could say, I'm 3-1 against Mahomes. We have stopped Mahomes from getting to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We came back and beat them in an AFC Championship game. That is really, I think, the only team and quarterback that has a shot. Because CJ Stroud, I think, is still a big unknown, but I think he can compete just with the team he has right now.
Mm-hmm.
And saying Houston Texans Super Bowl is weird, but I just think look at the talent around him. So Josh Allen, very, very talented quarterback. Not saying he's a bad quarterback, still a top 3 quarterback, but to say that he'll be the first one out of Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud's getting a lot of talent around him. They're building him the right way. Trevor Lawrence came back from 24 points down in a singular half to win a playoff game. He had an opportunity, actually, he had 2 opportunities to go up against the Chiefs a couple years ago and beat them in the divisional game. Had an opportunity there. Couldn't exactly deliver on it. Now, I think the Jaguars need a little bit of help there, but NFC, I think Goff would be a great story. Anyone in the NFC would need to stop Mahomes from getting there because I think everybody's picking the Chiefs to 3-peat.
Yeah.
So
it'll be hard to stop them.
In order for them to win that first Super Bowl, you need to beat a guy going for his 3rd straight.
And I think you're right. The Bills have lost a lot of talent. Can they replace all that? Still win 11 or 12 games? I think it's going to be tough. I mean, look at them this last year. They played lousy the first third of the first almost half of the season.
Yeah.
They had to win a lot of their final games to make it to the position they were in. They got themselves into a good position, which was a little surprising, I thought. But they were looking lousy there right up until game 9 or so. Yeah.
Well, that's when they fired Ken Dorsey and brought in Joe Brady. But I mean, also we have to give credit to Miami just being frauds last season, especially at the very end. You lose your last 2 games. And here's a big one. You got upset by Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. And Will Levis, I think, it might be a cool little piece to watch, but we're not saying he's going to be a world beater in the NFL. You got upset by Will Levis. The Dolphins were frauds last season. Yeah. So I think Tua is interesting just with the amount of talent that he has around him, but execution-wise, how sold are the Dolphins on Tua? You're going to need to pay him now, basically.
What's his contract look like right now?
Well, he's still on his rookie deal. But if you're telling me, and I'm going to bring up how much he's worth on SpotTrack, but if you're telling me right now, and SpotTrack has him at $50 million a year.
50?
6 years, $302 million contract.
Wow.
If you're telling me Tua's worth a $50 million a year contract, he better be winning you some playoff games now.
No, he's got the wide receivers to do it, right?
Well, yeah,
Tyreek Hill and
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, Tyreek, absolutely. And a lot of the mock drafts have them picking another speedster wide receiver like Xavier Worthy, which I don't know if you should do. You lost a couple defensive pieces that I would look at, but
they need to. The Dolphins, to me, they're a finesse team. They're not a team that is tough enough.
Right.
I don't see them as being tough.
They're trying to beat.
Actually,
teams
they have a decent running game though.
Right. Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert, I don't think is on there anymore. But
he's not with the team anymore.
Oh no, he's on extension. Jeff Wilson was also on there last season. But they're trying to speed everybody. Like they're not playing physical. They're just saying we're gonna run faster than you and hope it works. Yeah, what happens when you're playing in sub-0 degree weather?
They cave, they freeze.
Not
and
even
crack.
then. Not even then.
They crumble.
Play sub-45 degree weather. Tua becomes a completely different quarterback. The Dolphins as a team become an entirely different team because they're Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They're a warm weather team. When you play in sub-0 degree weather, it's a frozen fish. Doesn't move. It's not good. So I don't disagree with Brady on a lot, because there's not much to disagree with him on. Saying Josh Allen, when they lost the amount of pieces they lost, now maybe you could say,
plus the talent in the Eastern Division there, AFC East, looking pretty good, right? The Jets look much tougher. I don't think the Bills can beat them twice.
No.
The Dolphins, the
Bills couldn't even beat Mike White, let alone with Aaron Rodgers and the team they have now.
Patriots.
Who was their quarterback? Jacoby Brissett's not going.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
Well, if we talk about Tom Brady, then yeah,
not at the beginning of the season. Maybe they start with Jacoby Brissett and then they bring Brady in.
Well, 47-year-old Tom Brady, I'd still have him beating the Bills. Mac Jones beat the Bills in a comeback game last year.
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi couldn't beat. Oh no, Bailey
no,
Zappi
he couldn't beat
win.
him. He couldn't beat him.
Mac Jones did.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting. Yeah.
Mac Jones also beat the Jets.
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi didn't.
Okay, so we got a couple minutes left here.
Taking my free shots at Bailey Zappi when I can.
Right, I know.
Relish
you don't
in
like
that
him.
moment. I do not.
Yeah. We got a couple minutes left, Nate. Maybe an update on the Ohtani situation. What do you got to say?
So it's basically come to a conclusion, kind of, with the Ohtani situation. So Ipe Mizuhara, $16 million reportedly got stolen from Shohei Ohtani. There's a lot to get into. So I'll begin. So in 2018, Ohtani moved to the U.S. Ipe became his interpreter. He also opened a bank account where his Angels salary was deposited. I'm reading it from ESPN.com. Ohtani said he never gave Mizuhara control of his accounts, but Mizuhara allegedly told Ohtani's financial advisors and accountants, none of whom spoke Japanese, that Ohtani had denied them access to the account, according to the affidavit. In all, the complaint, basically, Mizuhara, it came out Mizuhara averaged about 25 bets a day, ranging from $10 to $160,000 per bet, and he did that from December 2021 up until this January. So basically about 19,000 bets in that total time frame. His total winnings, $142 million. His total losses, $183 million. A total total net balance of minus $40.5 million. And so
crazy.
There's more to this. Investigators relied on and here's the kicker. Would you believe this? In March 20th of 2024, after the news broke, Mizuhara texted the bookmaker asking whether he had seen the media reports. The bookmaker replied, quote, "Yes, but that's all BS. Obviously, you didn't steal from him. I understand it's a cover job. I totally get it." And this is where you indict yourself. Mizuhara replied, "Technically, I did steal from him. It's all over for me."
Oh, well, there you go.
But it came out Mizuhara never bet on baseball.
I can't believe that Ohtani wouldn't know that $16 million was stolen from him, huh? How does that happen?
You have financial advisors.
Who are his people? His agent, his accountant, his financial manager, his financial planner. He must have people like that. Where were they? I don't see how that happens. It's very strange, Nate. There's still more to come on this, I think.
I don't think there is. Authorities say they do not believe Ohtani had wired the money, as Mizuhara claimed in his first interview with ESPN. So this is all Mizuhara.
Huh.
This is a complete manipulation of Ohtani, of his funds, of even Ohtani's financial advisors and accountants. This is a complete stab in the back.
Yeah, if I were Ohtani, I'd be out there getting some better people to help me. Come on.
Well,
his accountant, somebody must be doing his tax return. Don't they see that the money that came into his account and suddenly all of it's gone? A lot of it's gone. Where did it go? Wouldn't they ask him? This happened over 3 years.
Well,
it happened over a 3-year period.
Well,
it didn't get caught until just recently.
Well,
Come on.
well,
There's something wrong there.
I don't think there's anything wrong because literally it's done. It's done. The
Well, they're not going to do anything to
him.
him. He's the best player in baseball. So
Right.
they're looking for an excuse to not do anything. It's the MLB. They've stopped their investigation. They're done with it.
I mean, we're talking about the fact that I believe he's arrested now. Is Mizuhara arrested? I'm pretty sure he
that
is.
doesn't mean they would be done with Ohtani's
Well,
investigation.
if it came out that it's all Mizuhara doing it and Ohtani's a victim of this,
I'm
it's done
interested
with.
to know where the MLB stands on it right now, whether they've finished their investigation.
I'm pretty sure it's done.
Wow.
Because why? If you're telling me that the legitimate investigators that were working on this case with the bookmaker and with Mizuhara claim that Ohtani is a victim here, we're done. It's finished with.
No.
Mizuhara. I mean, he admitted to it.
No.
He said, "I'm screwed." Basically,
I'd say to Ohtani, you know what? Control your own bank account. Yeah.
well, he
Get somebody to help you.
These folks, not everybody's literate in financials.
I'd say not. If you let somebody steal $16 million from you and not even know it.
I mean, and not only that,
Come on.
NIL. You're talking about 18.
I can't
19
believe he didn't know something
Well,
about
hold on. No, let's talk about this on a grand scheme of things. You're talking about 19 and 20-year-olds getting millions of dollars through NIL. You're expecting them to know about their financials? I think that's unfair. We're talking about kids now. And we're talking about a guy who, by the way, his financial advisors don't even speak Japanese. So Ohtani has to rely on his interpreter. The financial advisors and his accountants have to rely on the interpreter. So that interpreter is like the big boss man hiding behind, controlling everything. He's literally the toll guy on the highway, controlling who goes in, who goes out. What information goes in, what information goes out. So I genuinely, and yes, I did point out because we didn't know. Nothing was out there. It could be, and by the way, it's over $16 million as well. But 16 is like the big number.
I mean, I thought this guy owed the bookie $4 million.
Originally, at least 4.
Okay, so who does he owe the other $36 million to?
It's just betting. I guess it's just
but wouldn't somebody be out there trying to collect it from him? The $36 million he lost.
No, he kept trying to push it back. He was telling the bookmaker, "I'm going to pay it eventually."
Oh,
just give me
so
a second.
this one bookmaker, he owed the whole $40 million to.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't read the full thing because it's a long article, several articles deep. But it looks like between him and that illegal bookmaker, there was a lot of text conversations. At one point, the bookmaker saw Ohtani and he texted Mizuhara, "I'm going to talk to Ohtani about it." He never did because I guess Mizuhara went, "I'll pay you. Give me a sec." So he tried to set up fun like weekly payments or whatever because you keep betting and you have a problem with betting.
I guess he had a pretty big problem.
Yeah,
lose $40 million.
$40.7
and
million.
Ohtani's got a problem managing his bank account, losing $16 million out of it over 3 years and not knowing it. It's hard for me to believe.
You're focusing on baseball. You have a guy who you trust, who you're very, very close with, who's doing all that, who's speaking to your financial advisors, talking about it. And what was it again about his? I'm going to read it again to make sure I get this right. Here's the big thing. Why does the financial advisor see it? Mizuhara told his financial advisors that Ohtani had denied them access to the account. So Mizuhara was all over this account. Nobody else was looking at it. Ohtani wasn't looking at it. Accountants weren't looking at it. Financial advisors weren't looking at it. It was just Mizuhara's eyes over it. And also, Mizuhara would talk to banks as if he was Ohtani.
It's quite hard to believe.
It's what
incredible.
came out. It's what came out.
I can't believe Ohtani must feel terrible. He lost all that money.
When you talk
Now
about
we
the
got to get it back.
Here, the MLB made a statement. Given the information disclosed today and other information we have already collected, we will wait until a resolution of the criminal proceeding to determine whether or not further investigation is warranted.
So they're not done with their investigation.
But
I think that's right.
The feds are.
The feds are done, but the Major League Baseball's not. That's what Ohtani has most to worry about.
So you think this is still a cover-up? Or it could be a cover-up?
I don't know. It just seems very strange to me that somebody wouldn't know that $16 million was stolen from them
He doesn't
over
look at
3
the
years.
account. If you never look at something, how do you know it's gone?
But doesn't he know that his paycheck goes into an account? I mean, that's where his money for his paying baseball must have gone.
Well,
into this account. Wouldn't his financial managers, they're saying,
they don't see it.
Hey, Ohtani, we want to invest this money for you. Here's a good investment. We need to pay some money.
He goes through the interpreter. If you don't speak the language of the guy you're talking to, he could say whatever he can to the other guy.
There's more to come.
I don't think so. I think this is all said and done. We will never see a situation where ESPN breaks some news or Jeff Passan's going to break some news and say, breaking news, Ohtani, is involved in Mizuhara's gambling scheme and allowed him to bet and was aware. We're not going to see that. The MLB is not going to, here's the thing. If it were true, like for instance, the NBA might have its first serious gambling scandal, basically a Pete Rose of the NBA. I don't think we're going to see the same thing in the MLB, at least with Ohtani. Like, we're talking about Adam Silver coming around and say it's a cardinal sin. I forget what he played for the Raptors. I forgot who he played for. But there's a guy right now being investigated, and if it's true, he will be banned from basketball. I don't see MLB doing that to Ohtani because I don't think we're going to see a case where it comes out that the MLB, screw the feds at this point because they're done basically. The MLB is going to somehow find something the feds didn't. The authorities said Mizuhara never bet on baseball. So what is he going to get? A fine? If that's the case, give him a fine. The dude's going to make $680 million, 19 years from now. I think it's done. All right, that was a pretty good show today. Tuesday, we do picks 11 to 21. And then the following Tuesday after that, we finish up round one of our mock drafts. Also, a lot to talk about. Basketball, NBA season wraps up, I believe, this weekend. Baseball as well. Mets still suck. Marlins.
Hey, they won 16-4 against Atlanta last night. The Mets.
Yeah.
Huh? Maybe they've turned it on. They've figured it out.
Still suck. Marlins beat the Yankees recently.
Hey.
To get their second win of the season.
All right.
White Sox are 2-10. Baltimore overtook the Red Sox by a game and a half now. They play the Angels, I believe, tonight, if not tomorrow.
Tonight. I'm sure it's tonight.
Yeah, I think it is tonight because they're still playing at home. I'm shocked by the fact that Oakland has won 5 games. They're 5-8. I'm shocked. For a fan base that went to games specifically to sell the team, they're now all of a sudden winning games after they say they're going to Vegas.
Huh?
Interesting situation. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, my name's Nathan Harvey. That's been Ed Stephen Harvey. We are your co-hosts of the Harvey Hour. Catch us Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Good night, Grandpa.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with